been a couple days, and it probably would have been difficult to think about right after the game on Saturday, but an incredible season for you guys. How would you describe it?
Yeah, probably still difficult to put it all into words. Really good group. Very proud of them. We set out with some lofty goals and expectations, I guess, in our third year as a coaching staff, and a lot of their second or first year here on campus. And we got to fulfill those goals at the end of the year. One almost make the tournament. Second would have been to win it. Third one would have been to win the regular season, and then win the tournament, playing a regional. But now we set out for day 280. 280 is when you 280 days from when we started our first meeting to the regional watch party. So that was kind of our goal, was to get to 280, have a chance to have a cool watch party together. We had our last meeting on 280. It just wasn't the regional watch party. But I think there's so many good storylines with it, so many tough moments, so many positive moments, and I can't even reflect on those yet. I'll probably take me a couple more weeks to do that. But you can go every position. There was a cool story. I feel like across it with the 11-game win streak, all the offensive numbers. I think we, shattered the majority of the Division I records here this spring, and to do that with 24 freshmen and sophomores, certainly puts us in a good path moving forward, which we're really excited about.
And you had said early in the year that, I don't know if this was another season building, but you had talked about next year, that's going to be really good. Did this team surprise you at all at how well they played?
Yeah, they did, yeah, certainly. And more so, I think we had a lot of confidence going in with some of our younger players, but there's such a learning curve at Division I baseball with so many guys, and again, I don't want to start naming names because I'll forget some guys, but there were a lot of guys that played every day, this being their first full college year. Bash Randall, first year just in general in college baseball, and he was all conference. But those guys matured really well. I think Craig Perry and Blaze Lambert and Mark Mumper and Val on our coaching staff just helped those guys understand what it looks like. The returning players, Colton Eager and some of the guys with more experience at this level, I think really helped that group mesh. The thing we haven't talked about much all year, we were just decimated with pitching before the year even started. We had 4 guys go down that really didn't throw a pitch. I don't doubt at all, had we had 2 or 3 of those guys, we probably don't give up the runs we give up at the very, very end of the year. But that's part of it. So what we were able to accomplish in a 4-game series on the weekends where pitching just gets so stretched thin sometimes, you could argue this is the toughest year to ever go through the Southland Conference with 40-game conference slate, and where we had to go, the travel, the mileage, how a young group handled that. Man, I'll forever be proud of those guys for that. And they certainly deserve anything and everything they get from an all-conference standpoint to a championship ring, as a team. But not a lot of drama at all. They just kind of stayed the course and got a little bit better each week, which is kind of our model. So, no, for sure proud of them. Surprise, no, but probably the learning curve was quicker than I anticipated.
How do you explain Hunter Geezer's tournament?
Yeah. Hunter, he's, of course, this is his second year with us. Strong, physical, super sharp kid. I was just, sharing was that he's only made 1 B in college. This is his 4th year. Got his degree this spring. Workhorse. Sometimes he's his toughest critic. He gets really, really frustrated with himself, which baseball allows that to happen sometimes with the time you have. But started off real strong in the middle there. We had some guys that moved around with an injury or two, and for him to come back and finish the way he did, just when he's aggressive now, it's fun to watch. He can hit the ball a lot further than most. And he got some good swings off with a lot of aggression and a lot of confidence there down the stretch. So it was fun to watch. That was the deal with our group, though. The first game, he let us. We don't have that performance, we probably don't win the first game of the tournament. And I think Miller Ladisall was really productive in, the 5-hole this second game. Of course, so many guys throughout the year. Literally, I felt like it was a different guy or two, really every game, if not every weekend. Colton Caritas and Mitchell Dixon, they got rewarded at the end of the year with some all-conference accolades. And I thought they, throughout the course of the regular season, were the best duo in our league. And I thought they got rewarded for that at the end. But you pull those two out of the lineup, some weekends it was someone else throughout. So that's what I'll remember about this group probably, is just 1 through 9, and we like to call it 1 through 18. You know, we had 18 hitters start the year and finish the year with us. You know, maybe 15, 16, 17, 18 didn't get as many as at bats, but the energy they had, the will to get better, the determination to win, it just made it a really fun year.
And I guess just to kind of kick things off for me, obviously, you know, you guys fell short of your conference goal. However, there were a lot of positives throughout the season, which you kind of highlighted a second ago. Where do you think do you think you can use this season as a springboard, your final season in the Southland, going into the WAC? What type of momentum do you think you can pick up from this season? Yeah,
no, absolutely. I mean, I think success breeds success. You know, I think this group certainly raised the bar for ACU baseball. The expectation, as we have discussed since we've gotten here, it's not 500. It's not make the tournament. It's hopefully to win championships and win regionals. And at some point, we want to host regionals here. You know, I think those are the blocks we want to keep climbing, the steps we want to keep climbing. So this group certainly raised the bar. That was a challenge every day. It's like, hey, our goal now is to make next year's group, to make it really difficult on next year's group to set the new win record. You know, we finished the year at 36. The goal was to get to 37, and then would have been to get to 38. So I certainly think with so many guys returning, literally we had 3 seniors on this group. So when you look at bats, I don't even know the percentage yet, haven't looked at it, but it's going to be 98% of our at-bats are going to return. So that's always a positive, I think, especially when you've got a good core nucleus of guys that are what we would call really good fits here. You know, I think we returned a lot of those guys with some experience from 2020. They really piled onto that and built into 2021. Southland's, that story is written now. The WAC is the new book and the next chapter. We're certainly excited about that one. But I'd much rather be going into the 2022 with a championship and an experience. And honestly, you know, we finished 15-3 in our last 18 regular season games while we were chasing that championship. So you could argue like a big league team that's trying to make that playoff push, you're in a bunch of playoff games before. So the tournament was certainly valuable. You know, we got to play 4 games in the tournament, but you could argue the previous 18 when we were trying to make that climb, there was a lot on it. You know, when you've won 9 in a row, you know, 10 in a row is important, 11 in a row is important. And then the way we lost at Sam, and then we just really reset and passed on and moved forward. So I think all those experiences with the leadership we've got returning puts us in a really good spot. You know, we'll get some guys back from arm injuries this year on the pitching side, and we've added some good pieces, I think. So I think we're in a really good spot. We got to fall to work and keep getting better and not be complacent at all, but I don't think this group will.
In terms of, you know, like you mentioned, getting some of the pitching back, being able to, you know, continue to build on what you guys did this season, how much of a chip do you think there is on your team's shoulders, knowing the opportunity that was in front of you this year, once again, having all those wins towards the end of the regular season and taking that momentum in? Do you think there's a chip on your schedule? Oh, yeah,
that's how we're going to coach here. So there's always a huge chip. That's not an issue. I think this group's got some desire to keep climbing the ladder. They're going to feel really good, as they should, just like I do. Like there's a lot of firsts that happen this spring. We're going to celebrate those, certainly. You know, we've got a midnight rule in our program. You win well on Friday night, then you get to enjoy it until midnight. 12:01, man, we move on to the next day. Same as if it's not good. You know, if we don't play well on Friday, you got till midnight to sulk, pout, and do whatever you need to do. But Saturday morning we roll in, it's time to go. So, I mean, I think we'll certainly enjoy it, and there's going to be some great talking points. We'll celebrate this group 10 years from now as the first Division I champion. They'll have a championship ring to wear around proudly. But that won't mean a whole lot come August. You know, when we get the group back, it'll be you know, what's the next venture? We've got the WAC. There's a lot of unfinished business. We're not anywhere near where we want to be as a program in terms of just consistency. So next year will be an opportunity to kind of stack a good year on top of a good year. Hopefully we'll have a great year at the end.
You know, and how much did it mean to you and to your program and to the school even to get the conference regular season title in the last year in the Southland?
Yeah, I think regardless of what year it was, I think it was important. You know, we've got such a passionate support base here. You know, when you look at just ACU in general here in Abilene, you know, from Dr. Schubert to Alan Ward to all the way down, our academic support staff, our athletic training, our, you know, strength and conditioning. And it's certainly, we don't win the championship and have 36 wins in the regular season without the support. You know, then you start to go outside our circle here at ACU on the Hill, and the community support. It was like our last home weekend was awesome. The crowd we had, the energy that was there, and I hope that becomes the norm, and that's what we want. And we understand our part of that is to play a good brand of baseball and win some games, and hopefully there's a lot on the line where people want to come out and watch. So, you know, really want to take a second to thank those folks and the people that's behind the scenes that support our program so many different ways. So without them, we don't win one. It certainly makes it special when it's a family environment, I think, because it's not I don't know, there's a lot of internal pressure from our team. You know, like we want to win personally, but there's not a lot of external, if that makes sense sometimes. So we want to push ourselves to do that. At the same point in time, we've got a family type bond here in the community, which I think this is just scratching the surface. We got Little League camp next week. You know, it's like, my goal here is to get as many purple and white hats on kids running around. You know, I've got an 11-year-old son, and I love last night watching some Little League games. It's cool to see some ACU Wildcat baseball gear on some young kids. So we want everybody that wants to be a part of it to be a part of it, and we're certainly, you know, stoked about the future.
And the second to last thing for me is, to that point, what type of impact, you know, on a major scale potentially, do you think that this season had on your program moving forward?
Yeah, so our goal eventually is, you know, our hashtag is ATO, which is Abilene to Omaha. You know, that's a lofty goal. That's a God-sized goal. That's going to take a lot of things to help get us there. But it's more of a mindset for us. I think we know what the end is. We know where we are. We're trying to continually bridge the gap to getting there as quick as we can. I think our platform is ACU baseball. We want to get to the biggest platform and share the ACU story and our story as a baseball program and who started it, where it's at, and where we're going. And I certainly think the 2021 group there's going to be a lot. I hope we can look back in 5 years and say, yep, it started on May 21st when we clinched the regular season championship in 2021, and man, now look at it. You know, we're hosting a regional now based on that. But honestly, it started in 2018. You know, our first year or 2019, I guess, our first year when we had a group that had nothing to play for, and the last weekend we were 23 and 26 going into it, and those guys fought and swept Nicholls State here to finish the year 26 and 26, which doesn't sound like a lot, but the fight they showed on the last 2 days in 2019 is probably really resemblance to the fight our guys showed when we got pinned down pretty good the last 2 games of the tournament, but just hard to kill. You know, we kept coming back, kept making runs. So I think that's a great piece of culture that the guys have established here now, and I think as that moves forward, as the players develop and players are better and different teams roll in here to Crutcher Scott Field, if we can keep pulling off wins, I think that'll be a really 21 will be a really good piece to that story.
Sweet. And then just final thing, you mentioned the all-conference teams before.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there are a bunch of players across the board for all 3 teams and the defensive team as well. You know, those players specifically, what did it mean to you to see them be recognized on that level, knowing the hard work that they put in on a daily basis coming into work? Yeah,
it's cool. It's really awesome to see those guys get rewarded for their work and effort, and it's not so many of those guys. You know, we're turning in ballots for academic All-Americans, and so many of those guys are on those same ballots. So we talk a ton in our program about champions come before championships, and this group, you know, we had a 3.35 cumulative GPA on both semesters, so a 3.45 and a 3.26. So when you add that, you know, on top of performance, on top of all the other off-the-field stuff that we really didn't have to deal with that a lot of programs do, they certainly deserve it. So I think we had 6 guys that were named all-conference, not counting the all-defensive team. So for them to I don't know, latch onto that this year and have a chance to hopefully build onto that next year. And the challenge for some of those guys is, hey, there's a lot of guys that are freshmen all-conference, which we had 3, that never make an all-conference team again. You know, so it's not hey, just because you were this year doesn't mean the next 2 or 3 years is going to be the case. So that's our challenge to them. Hey, can you do it 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row? Can you do it 4 years in a row? So, and we've got some potential to do that. So now it's great to see those guys get rewarded. to see the majority, or the vast majority of them, 6 out of, they're all offensive guys this year. So 6 of our 9 offensive starting 9 got rewarded to some point. So I think that shows the depth of our team, and it was from start to finish. So good for those guys.